as someone who likes to get shit done and out the way, I can't stand a goddamn procrastinator. I don't know. I just had to say that. Can't stand a fucking procrastinator. Anyways, I have a message for you guys, a lesson for you guys. It started off as a download. Okay, ooh, right ear to start ringing, high pitch. Okay, confirmation for something. It started off as a download. Okay, so this download that I got on February 17th, 2026. Okay, for context, just for context, it is March 14th, 2026, okay? But if the date means nothing to you, the date means nothing to you. Only take it how it resonates. And when I say resonates, I mean how it makes your liver quiver, okay? So, if the tidbit of information, the fact, the time, the date, or whatever, etc., doesn't make you feel a certain type of way, makes your soul feel like it's on fire, makes your brain itch, and makes your liver quiver, 9 times out of 10, that tidbit of information, date, time, whatever it was, just wasn't for you. And that's okay. All right. So at 7:11 a.m. is when I got this download on February 17th. And I was sitting here at my desk doing my thing. And I randomly heard sparkling dots. Sparkling dots. Okay. Now, that is a South Park reference. If you do not know what South Park episode that is a South Park episode where Randy Marsh is found out to be writing songs and singing and is actually the artist Lord. Okay. So it's really a funny and stupid episode if you want to go watch it. But that's the South Park episode about the singer Lord, okay? And then right after that, I heard, and we'll never be royals, royals. It doesn't run our blood. That kind of lux just ain't for us. We crave a different kind of buzz. And that was the end of the second download, right? So, literally, this is the message for those two downloads, okay? So, what the singer Lord was singing about is how she's basically singing about and acknowledging the fact that the celebrities, the elites, etc., will never be royalty, never be spiritual royalty, okay? So, basically, they do not carry the bloodline of God, and they know this. They are aware of this, okay? And they know that they will never be spiritual royalty because they do not carry the specific bloodline of God, okay? Now, spirit, etc. So, celebrities, they literally crave a different type of buzz. They crave worldly pleasures, worldly rewards, worldly things. They crave money, power, influence, etc. Okay, carnal things. So they will never be royal, spiritual royalty, and they know it. They know it. That's why they do what they do. Okay, so that led me to another tidbit of information. Now, about celebrities, not necessarily connected to that download specifically, but still about celebrities. Okay, now I don't know if you've seen all the videos popping up lately talking about celebrities being cloned. Okay, they're not being cloned. That doesn't. Do you know how long it takes a clone to grow? They're not being cloned. Allow me to explain, okay? Celebrities are not being cloned or replaced at all. At all. So every time you see a celebrity disappear and come back looking different, or you don't see them for a minute and they come back looking different, they're not being cloned. They're not replaced, okay? What's going on with that is they're literally possessed. They're possessed. They're not cloned or anything like that, okay? What you're seeing, the difference in them that you're seeing is the entity within them changing their appearance, okay? So those videos, like I said, talking about them being cloned and replaced is wrong. It's incorrect. They're not being cloned or replaced. It's them, but at the same time, it's not them. Let me explain. Celebrities are possessed. Not all of them, okay? Not all of them. A vast majority, but not all of them, okay? they're possessed. So when celebrities sell their soul, it means a few different things. It's literal and it's metaphorical. Okay. They sell their soul as far as their image. They sell their soul as far as their privacy. They sell their soul as far as their ethics, their integrity, etc. for money. Okay. But some of them also literally sell their soul and make an agreement to become a vessel for another entity, okay? And that's when you see the celebrities that look different and you're like, that's not them, that's a clone. No, no, no. It's them. They're just, they're no longer occupying their own vessel. Something or someone else is, okay? So each celebrity that sells their soul is assigned an entity, assigned a spirit, assigned a demon, okay? They're assigned an entity and a persona. The persona is the persona, the energy of the entity, okay? So they literally sell their soul and agree to be a vessel for the entity or spirit that they are assigned to, okay? Now, do you remember Christmas Eve in 2024? 12/24/24. That was the date, 12/24/24. And on Christmas Eve, 12/24/24, the Pope opened up portals. I think it was 4 or 5 portals, okay, in Rome. Do you remember that? Okay. Now, 12/24/24, if you add 24 plus 24 plus 12, that equals 60. And 60 is reduced to the number 6. The number 6 is the devil's number. The devil's number just means that it is associated with the physical world, money, wealth, material, etc. Okay? So, basically, the Pope opened up those portals to let in the entities and the spirits that the celebrities worship, their deities, etc. Okay, their gods. Okay. Now, some of the entities that the elites worship and serve, like I said, money, power, influence, respect, all that shit. Okay. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video. Just wanted to take a moment to formally invite you to my 3-day spiritual warfare boot camp coming up in April. It's going to be April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. 2 hours a day. And we're going to discuss what spiritual warfare is, how it manifests in everyday life, how you can recognize it, fight it, and how to win the war. Okay, guys? So this is going to be, like I said, a 3-day boot camp in April. I'm already accepting registrations for the boot camp. If you are interested in that, click the link below and it'll take you to my booking page where you can book your seat for this April's Spiritual Warfare Boot Camp. And seats are limited. Only 50 seats, guys. But back to the video. Okay. So the portals that were opened were to let in specific entities, energies, spirits. And some of these entities, energies, and spirits that were let into the earth realm are meant for some of the celebrities. They're meant to inhabit some of these celebrities, okay? So some of these entities are the entities that some celebrities have sold their soul to, sold their vessel to, and basically have donated their body to let this entity spirit inhabit them, okay? Now, let me go back. So this is what it is. It's not that they're being cloned. It's not that they're being replaced. It is literally them. It's their body. It's their vessel. But they have basically rented out their vessel in exchange for worldly gain. And the time has come where the entity is ready to inhabit the vessel that they have agreed upon. And again, that's why you'll see some celebrities looking different. Example, all these videos about Jim Carrey looking different. Either that man got some bad plastic surgery, or it was time for his entity his assigned entity spirit to inhabit his vessel. That's why he looks different. You are literally seeing the entity altering his appearance. Okay. So another example of this. This is going to be a personal story. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little story about something that solidified this theory for me. Okay. When I lived in California, in Sacramento, California, I was working on an album. I was making music. I was a music artist, okay? I was a singer. I was working on an album. I ended up leaving in 2009. I ended up leaving in 2009 and moved to Ohio, okay? So I stopped working on music, okay? In 2011, I remember talking on the phone with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was my manager. Okay, he was the owner of the music label that I was singing under. He was my manager. And I remember talking to him on the phone in 2011, and I remember a conversation that we had where he said to me, "I wish you hadn't stopped making music. You were supposed to be Nicki Minaj." And I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" And it didn't hit me until years later. In 2009, when I did stop making music, he was trying to push me to rap more, and I didn't want to rap. He wanted me to rap, and he was trying to push me to do rap, and I wasn't a rapper. I was a singer. Now, can I rap? Absolutely. But that's not what I wanted to do. So when I decided to stop making music around that same time, I believe it was 2006, 2007, when I came back from Louisiana and was working on music, around that time I made a song about my parents called I Remember. And it was a really good song. And I remember my brother had a meeting with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis to basically try to get me to sell my song to them because they wanted to give my song to Keisha Cole. And I said, no, absolutely not. That song's about my parents. No, no, no. Well, it's not a coincidence that in 2007, Keisha, mind you also, my brother had this meeting with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis without me present. I wasn't even invited, okay? So I don't know if my song actually got sold or what. But it's no coincidence that in 2007, Keisha Cole releases her song called I Remember. Now, if you know anything about music and when you sell your songs or whatever, they can literally take that song, make it a completely different song, change the words, change the music, everything. But because it was yours and you sold it to them, you can't even sing the original version of that song, which is completely different than the version that they have turned it into. But because you sold them the rights, that technically the version you wrote and the version they've basically updated and remixed, both of them now belong to them. You can't even sing your original fucking piece of music. So, just because a song doesn't sound like my song, that doesn't mean it wasn't, okay? And then suddenly after that, I couldn't find my song on the internet anymore, anywhere. So, the fact that he said to me, "I wish you hadn't stopped doing music. You were supposed to be Nicki Minaj," that set something off in my head a few years later, like, hold on. So was he saying that I was supposed to agree to sell my song and I was supposed to be inducted into the industry that way and I was supposed to adopt the persona and the entity that Nicki Minaj now has? You see where I'm going with this, okay? Also, my brother-in-law has connections to the music industry. He had a cousin that I believe worked for Interscope. I want to say it was Interscope. I'm not sure exactly. But when that cousin passed away in a car accident, my brother went to his cousin's funeral. When he was at his cousin's funeral, there were many celebrities there. Angela Bassett was there. He literally had to get Angela Bassett's heel out of a street, like a sewer grate. He had to help Angela Bassett get her shoe out of a sewer grate. And I remember him sending me a picture of him with Angela Bassett. Okay, so my brother has connections in that field, in that area. So it's not far-fetched that he had already agreed and tried to sell my soul on my behalf or sold my song, and that's why I wasn't invited to the meeting. And that also goes along with what I was saying when he said to me, "You were supposed to be Nicki Minaj." Perhaps I was supposed to be assigned that entity, energy, persona, and spirit that is now the express property of Nicki Minaj, okay? But yeah, so in essence, the whole point of the video, celebrities are not being cloned or replaced. They're possessed. They are fulfilling their end of the agreement. Okay, so they have literally and figuratively sold their souls. And the entities, spirits that they have agreed to let move in have come to move in. Okay, but guys, that is all I have for this message. I'm going to go ahead and close this lesson here. I guess that's a Saturday school. I call it a Saturday school lesson. I'm going to close it here, guys. And I will see you in the next one. Enjoy your weekend. Toodles.